Coach, unfortunately, it's not been a good week for the Aces after that loss to Drake earlier in the week, and then you lose to Illinois State. Let's start with the Drake game a little bit. On a floor that you guys have lost now 5 straight going into, what is it about that court, and what is it about that arena that you guys just can't get over that hump?
Yeah, it really nothing to do with the arena or the court. I mean, we just, for us, if we're doing the things that we do well, cutting hard, screening well, delivering the basketball, defensively, guard and penetrate, all the fundamentals. If we're playing good basketball, then we're going to be successful. And Drake gave us good resistance. We were up 6 with 8:30 to go. We were tied with 3:33 to go. We just did not execute. We didn't make plays that we have at times this year well enough to get a win.
Who is it more frustrating for to know that you've got the talent and the ability, and like you said, it's fundamentals. It's the stuff that these guys have done day in and day out since they were in grade school. Is it more frustrating on you as a coach to see those kind of slips, or is it more frustrating on those players because they know that they can do it? It just there's those nights where it just doesn't work out like they want it to.
Yeah, I would probably say the players. They have a lot invested. The early morning workouts, the early morning weight training, the conditioning. I mean, there's so much dedication and commitment and sacrifice that goes in to not only being a good college basketball player, but being a good team. And when you do, and a lot of times, it's you. If you have a belief in yourself and you feel you should be able to do the things that we're talking about consistently all the time. But when you get off track, when you let other factors enter the picture, whether it is another player you're playing against, another team, a different scheme, foul trouble, you're on the road, all those externals that you just have to block out. You have to block out. Then it is tough, and that's an area that we have got to get better at. We got to learn from it, not live in it. You got to learn from those mistakes, and we have to get better. We've put ourselves in a good position to have a successful season. Now we're going to be judged on how we finish, and that's up to us. Again, if we play good basketball, we feel we have the opportunity to compete with anybody.
Talking to UE men's basketball coach Marty Simmons on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, and online, ESPNEvansville.com. I guess if there's any silver lining to the Drake game is that it was only a 5-point loss, but still nonetheless, it goes into the loss column. Let's jump ahead to the Illinois State game, which was far more lopsided, unfortunately. Take us through how that game went down, what went wrong, what did Illinois State do well that you guys just couldn't beat?
Unfortunately, it was something very similar to Wichita State. Just their physicality, their athleticism, that played more of a factor than we have to let it be. I mean, they challenged shots at the basket. They got out in the passing lanes. We did a poor job of taking care of the basketball. As you and I have talked many times, one of the keys to us being a good offensive team is not turning the ball over. They scored 27 points off our turnovers. We're not going to beat anybody if we're not placing an enormous amount of value on taking care of the basketball. And that's probably the most disappointing thing is we looked at that game as a stepping stone game to see where we've come since the Wichita game, and we just didn't play very well.
Well, you've got injuries are a part of a season. There's no doubt about that. There's not a team out there that goes through the season without some nicks and dings, and some worse than others. Agidius came out of that game against Illinois State with a head injury, concussion, whatever. That's the question we'll ask you. What was the deciding injury on that, and what's his status today?
Yeah, he did bump his head there when Lynch fell over him. Leg came down on top of his face, and really it's just something that's being evaluated, on a daily basis. He has not practiced since then. We were actually off as a team on Wednesday. He didn't practice yesterday. He'll be reevaluated today, and we'll just go from there.
Is basketball pretty much the same as football in concussion protocol? I mean, are there steps once it's considered a concussion? Are there steps he has to go through and hurdles he has to clear before he's cleared to get back on the court?
Yeah. There is. There's protocol with athletic training and the people that he's dealing with. I don't have probably as good an understanding. I certainly have the confidence in our trainers and our doctors, and they're very cautious with our athletes. And again, he'll be reevaluated today.
Talking to Marty Simmons, head basketball coach of the University of Evansville Purple Aces. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, online, ESPNEvansville.com. And, Coach, we were talking a week or so back with USI coach Rodney Watson. There was a story about one of their games where some players got fired up in the locker room, kind of got in each other's faces a little bit, trying to pump up the team and get them to come out in a game that they eventually went on to win. And from what I see and watching the highlights on the news in the evenings and the things I read through the Courier and Press, the guy that seems to be that person for you is Adam Wing. He seems like a guy in the quotes I've read and most recently in a quote with that Illinois State game that he's not afraid to kind of put out there what's on his mind. He doesn't really dance around the issues, but he doesn't single anybody out. It's more of a, we didn't do this right, we need to do better at this. Are you okay with that kind of stuff? Is that the kind of players you want? Are you okay with them speaking to the media in those terms? Does that help the team overall?
Well, I think number one, the key ingredient with leadership is, number one, you have to lead by example. You know, are you doing anything and everything you can that the coaches and your teammates are asking of you? And if you are, and then you see others that maybe are not doing those things, and I certainly think that if you really care, you should have that ability to try to motivate those people around you to get more effort, to get more concentration, to get more togetherness. I think that's what leadership's all about. And Adam is someone that is a tough guy. He's got a football background, and he's a competitive young man. Winning is the most important thing with him. Whether he takes a shot, it doesn't matter. He's kind of unorthodox with that in today's world. I mean, he just wants to do the things, the little things, the dirty things that helps his team win.
I want to get back to another injury, although this one you were able to get him back on the court for the Illinois State game. Mislav Broja, who came back from the broken hand, was able to get in on the game against Illinois State, had 2.6 rebounds, only 16 minutes off the bench. What's his status, and as far as adding more minutes to him as the season progresses?
Yeah, he's been fully released. Prior to the Illinois State game, he was participating. He had limits on his practice time. We felt like it was important. He wanted to play. He's invested as much in the team as anybody, and getting him out there and getting him under the lights, playing against somebody, just kind of testing it. But he's been really good. Again, I've talked. When Adam came back, everybody wants a guy to return exactly where they were when they received the injury. And it just doesn't happen. Mies has been out for a couple of weeks here, and he'll work his way back. But I do think he's getting more confident, and I think he'll be a key contributor as we move down the stretch.
Well, you get a chance to get back in the winning side of things. You got a home game tomorrow afternoon inside the Ford Center against Bradley, a team with a losing record in the overall and in the conference, a 7-16 overall and a 2-8 conference record. But as we've discussed with you numerous times over the last several weeks, the Missouri Valley Conference, very, very tough. So you kind of don't want to look at that record and just assume that this team may not be as difficult as some of the others you've faced. What do they bring to the court? What do you guys need to do to get a win tomorrow?
Well, I mean, they're certainly play with much more confidence. They played Wichita. I think they were down one with 40 seconds, ended up getting beat by 3 the other night at Bradley. I mean, they're a very athletic team. In a lot of ways, they're similar to Illinois State. They've got big, athletic, long interior guys. They've got really good quickness on the perimeter. So I mean, our ability to be tough, to be strong, to block out and secure rebounds, our ability to guard dribble penetration, to pressure shots, to not give up easy baskets, make them earn every opportunity they get on the defensive end, and then offensively, we've just got to play more passionate. I mean, we've got to get out. We've got to run. We've got to have a better tempo. I know we talked, after the Indiana State game, that was one game where we felt we played the style and at a tempo that we really want. So, that's our challenge.
That's University of Evansville men's basketball coach Marty Simmons joining us on the Menard Studio Hotline. Coach, best of luck tomorrow against Bradley. We'll talk again next Friday.
Thanks a lot, guys.